I'm going to randomly turn the cards over and quickly make 3 piles of like, don't like, no thoughts, just to see an energy here. So the cards that I really like on first impression, the cards that I really don't like on first impression, and those that are just neutral. Okay, and I'll speed it up because you don't need to watch me do the whole process. Okay, so where am I going? Really like, neutral, don't like. The pile that I really like is quite large. The pile that is neutral is quite small, and the pile that I don't really like is quite large, although not as large as the ones I do like. Now, why have I chosen what I've chosen? Just purely on imagery, actually. They're quite confronting images when you actually look closely at them, I think, anyway. A lot of these are face cards are the ones that I like because of direction. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be really useful to use in a spread, because we can see where, for instance, this Queen of Pentacles is looking. So if this card was in a spread here, we could see that the Queen of Pentacles is actually pointing here to the Seven of Swords and wants that to be important in the reading. So that's one of the reasons. I love this devil. Some of them are purely the animals because I really like them. So I love this elephant. I think this has got to be the favourite one of the whole deck for me, but I love elephants. So yeah, and this has got a very strange take, so it's one that I need to sit with. I like this one because it reminds me of Terry Pratchett and, you know, the Discworld on the top of the turtle. The pig actually looks like something from there's an album cover with that on it. I think it's Led Zeppelin, I'm not sure, but yeah. So that's a personal thing, really. Unicorns are gorgeous, aren't they? And that beautiful, beautiful feline animal there sort of reminds me of strength, but it's actually the Nine of Wands, which now I've looked at. Actually, I wasn't looking at which actual cards they were, but now I've realised that's the Nine of Wands. It actually does make sense because, yeah, need strength there. So yeah, there's various reasons I like them. A lot of them directions. I like the way they're directed. I like the face cards. So that's sort of why I went there, I think. The neutral ones, they just didn't really evoke. I mean, I like the Five of Wands. Yeah, it's a goat. I like this goat. But it's fine. I don't dislike it. It's not one of my favourites, but I actually don't dislike it. And I think that was sort of the criteria I was going on here. It's like, yeah, it's fine. I don't love it, but I don't dislike it. So it's gone in the neutral pile. And the neutral is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 neutral cards. So that's interesting in itself, isn't it? That I'm actually having reactions, good and not so good, within this deck. The ones I don't like, I don't know, I don't like that animal really. Yeah, Ten of Swords. Well, yeah, Ten of Swords is always quite a difficult card, isn't it? Interesting. This is a direction card and it is a face card, but it hasn't gone into my favourites. Why is that? King of Pentacles all in his head. I don't know, I think I see the bottom here. It's just like, whoop. And it's for the same sort of reason here. This is confronting. There's a message there, obviously, that I need to work with. There's one to work with, isn't it? That's, I don't know. I mean, I see the message, but yeah, I'm not keen on the image, I don't think. A lot of them with the glass domes, I'm not that keen on. Actually find them. Yeah, see these sort of robots with fish in. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the thought of helpless animals being trapped within, especially that one, being confined. I don't like confinement. That's maybe a trigger for me, so that could be why I don't like this. I actually just see it as a confinement and holding back, and here I see somebody else having power over me, and making a song and dance about it, and I've got to just take it on the chin, and like there's a lot of fire here, isn't there? So this is going to be a really good deck to actually spend some time with, because I can see all sorts of personal things here that, yeah, wow, This is a strong deck, I can tell already. So I think the next thing I'll probably do is have a little look through the guidebook and get a feel for the way that's written. And yeah, so that was the next stage in my little deck bonding and working with the deck for a month. Question 1. What type of reading does this deck prefer? Queen of Swords. Oh, I think this deck is going to give very direct answers to any question. That gaze there is really straight on and it's confronting. So I think it is going to be quite a confronting deck. So buckle up. We're in for a ride. What advice would help me to learn with working with you? Oh, the Devil. So the Devil's all about obsession, isn't it? Addiction. Getting caught up, thinking we're not free, thinking we're bound, we're tied. When it really is all in our mind, we do have the freedom. So don't get too hung up on traditional meanings of the tarot. Take the deck as it is and what it has to offer and work with that. Don't get too tied up really with traditional meanings. This deck is going to put everything on its head. This Devil is actually upside down, so I think that tells me that, you know, look at this in a different way. Don't look at this as you normally would look at a tarot deck. This is going to be something quite different, I think. How might you help me grow as a reader? And we have Judgment. So Judgment is about answering the call. It's about having a sort of a wake-up call. So I think this is going to actually wake up my tarot practice. It's going to actually rejuvenate it and let me come at it at a different perspective, maybe one from the heart, because these two figures are actually pointing to this heart here, and this is a little baby here. So this sort of makes me think about, oh, if it will focus, coming at this with fresh eyes. And I think that reinforces the Devil card, really. You're not getting tied up too much to traditional meanings and looking at this deck with fresh eyes and seeing it for what it is. That's what I'm getting anyway. Where will I struggle? Where will I struggle? Four of Cups. Okay, so Four of Cups is boredom. It's not taking what's offered in the spirit of which it's being offered. What do we have here? Well, very watery card, isn't it? And we have brains and we have hearts here. Maybe I think it might be a struggle between the mind and the emotions here. Is what I'm seeing. It's stable, it's a 4. So maybe balancing the head and the heart. So again, it's coming back to the mental side of things, like seeing this deck in the traditional way, as to the emotional side and actually connecting to the deck with feeling and not turning off those feelings, actually going with the feelings that the deck evokes when I look at the images, rather than thinking, oh, well, the Four of Cups means boredom. So where do I see boredom here? I don't. But what I do see is a struggle, maybe a conflict of interest, so a conflict between the mind and the heart. What the mind knows and what the heart feels. And I think that's what I'm seeing there. How can I fully tap into the energies of the deck? How can I fully tap into the energies of this deck? Seven of Pentacles. Well, my head's saying it's hard work and putting the effort in, not slacking. You know, it's constantly working with the deck and connecting with the deck. So really giving it some time and some energy, because it deserves it. I think it's a very special deck. So that's the deck interview. There's a lot of watery sort of energy here. Surreal imagery, lots of things to get my teeth into, especially like these little figures here that we see. There we have little people there, we have little people here actually falling off, clinging on. They don't look too secure, do they? And then these are tied, and we have this baby. So yeah, I'm sort of really want to delve deep into the imagery of this deck, because I think it's worth the effort involved. Okay, so that was the deck interview. So I decided to have a little look at the court cards as part of this month with the Lorenzi Tarot. Now, there's a lot of symbology on these cards, which I'll tell you what I've done. I've taken each of the symbols that appear in several cards, because it says in the beginning of the guidebook that some of these elements travel throughout the card. And so I have made a little study of the symbols and where they repeat in the cards, and this is what I've found. So I did 5 pages of that. So let's just have a little look where these actually do repeat in the deck as a whole. So yeah, that was what I have done. So for instance, we have bees that appear in the Two of Swords, and that means working together as one. And in the Knight of Wands, it means courage as well. Bees, chameleon, clocks, crow, dove, eagle, elephant, an empty cup, an exposed heart, an exposed brain, faceless. In the Knight of Swords, it actually means no fear. Flamingos. The flamingos actually are in quite a few cards. I think that's the one motif that is in most of the cards, along with the moths. So those were prevalent in the deck. And then I just did a little bit with, there were some numbers in there that were defined as well. So I just put those down. There was only 3 of them, 2, 4 and 8. Which is, yeah, I thought there would have been more, but there wasn't. So yeah, that's my little look at the way that symbols and numbers repeat in the cards. Interestingly though, just going back to those numbers, how strange. The 2, you would think, okay, it's in the 2 cards, but no, it's not. The 8, you would think it'd be in the 8 card, you know, number 8 card, but no, it's in the 10 of Swords. And the 4 is in the Knight of Swords. So that was a little bit a different take on sort of the way we think of numerology in a tarot context. So for instance, what can we see here? We can see the flamingos in the Page of Wands, we can see them in the Page of Swords. What I can also see here is an exposed heart centre. So what that's saying to me is that these pages are open-hearted, open to experiencing their element. And I can see the elements here as well. So here for the Page of Wands, we have a horse's body. They're all, I think the word chimera, you know, where they're half animal, half human. Correct me if I'm wrong, I might be. But here we've got like the horse and the wings here and taking flight. And this page is actually pointing upwards in the direction that they want to go. So yeah, they're aspiring there. I can see that in this card. In the Page of Cups here, our figure, our chimera, is actually placing their hands over their heart space, as if to say they are actually leading from the heart. This is where their energy is focused from, if you like. This is what they're all about, the water element. And we can clearly see a water element here because we're part fish of some sort here. In the Page of Swords, then the sword has been dropped here from the clouds into the ground, presumably. We've got bird's feet, bird's wings. We've got the universe in the centre of the torso here. So that again links to air, doesn't it? Because, yeah, the universe. So, yeah, we can see the whole sort of air element there. And then in the Pentacles, what can we see? Well, we can see phoenixes. So phoenixes are about change. So our Page of Pentacles is about changing his world and moving up into the world. However, these two phoenixes aren't flying. So that sort of ties in with the earth element of Pentacles suit. And what do we have here? So we do want to take flight, but we're more earthbound here. And our page here is actually pointing down into the earth. Really interesting when you start to actually dissect the cards and look at them, you know, in different groupings. So I thought I'd share this little process with you. So those were the pages. And of course you can actually go through each suit doing this as well, which is a nice thing to do. What should we have a look at next? Should we have a look at the... Okay, let's have a look at the knights. Okay. So the first thing I noticed straight away is these two knights have no face. The heart is exposed on the Knight of Wands. We have butterfly, what looks like butterfly wings here. This is very watery. This is a mer person here, the fishtail. And blue, interestingly enough, where we had the fishtail in the Page of Cups was red. This one's blue. Yeah, the colours changed on the fish. I wonder if that's the same on the other cards. Let's have a little look. Well, our Queen of Cups here doesn't have a tail. But I'll come back to the Queens in a minute. What about the Kings? King of Cups, no, again, we're not seeing a tail in the King of Cups. What else can I say? Well, both of these knights, the swords, and actually all three, as I'm looking at them, all three seem to have horses as the bottom part of their bodies. Our knight here is actually on the ground, and for Pentacles, for swords, they're in the air. For cups, they're actually in the sea. And for wands, well, there's a fiery energy there behind them. And again, we've got flamingos there. We've got the phoenix there. Not quite sure what that one is. Looks a bit like a heron. Very aquatic animals here. And here, we've got those phoenixes again. So a phoenix is all about change, isn't it? It's the animal that rises from the ashes. So those are the knights. We've got horns there. Looks quite pagan. Okay, so there's the knights. Let's look at the queens. And the first thing I'm noticing here is all of the Queen's energies seem to be in the headspace here. Our Queen of Pentacles is actually looking up to the headspace, whereas the rest are looking straight on. So there's that directional aspect to it as well, like we saw in the pages. Our heart here is exposed. In fact, it's actually left the body. Here it's encased. Here it's coming through a portal. There's little men as well in some of these cards, so I can see them there on the swords. This is very contained, this Queen of Cups, but there's water everywhere, sprouting from the head. The bottom part of the body is actually in the water and made up of aquatic animals there, totally in their elements, aren't they? Again, we have the flamingos. One of the meanings for flamingos is long-term view, so maybe that is something that we can look at with these queens, because actually I can see a flamingo in every one of the queen cards. These queens are actually have a long-term view. Okay, let's have a look at the kings then. Again, very much in the head space. The wands have got fire energy on the tip of the hair there. Flamingos again. So we've got flamingos in every card. So again, we're looking at a long-term view. So it's a more mature energy as well, isn't it? Along with the queens. So the King of Pentacles here has got part of the head missing. And it's gone into a bubble with a little man in there. So this exposed brain here is about reflection and reason from instincts. Here we've actually got an owl shape at the top of the head, so wisdom, and that goes really hand in hand with the King of Swords. I'm just interested to see, yes, I was interested to see about this here, and it is the same on the Queen and the King of Swords, the way that the heart is there. Does that repeat in any of the others? Queen of Wands, yes, again, see, we have that same imagery there. Cups, what do we have? Well, here the Queen of Cups, the container is in the chest area, where it's in the head area with the King. Although we have a nice heart shape made here. And then Pentacles. Yes, we've got this fishbowl sort of motif here. The same. Isn't that interesting? So, yeah, that's a way I find of working with cards, is actually to see how they speak to each other, really, or how the symbols repeat. And they very much do so in this deck. Okay, so that's continuing my study with the Lorenzi deck. I have been looking at numerology a little bit. And so what I did was I separated all the cards that added up to each number, 1 to 9. And so obviously for the ace we have all of the aces. We have the 10s as well, because the 10s, 1 and 0 makes 1. So there we have 1 as well. So all the 10s, and then the Magician card. So actually seeing how the Magician card relates to each of the other cards in the deck when we put them together, which I think is a really useful practice. I'll see if there's any correlations or any way that plays out with its corresponding major card there. So that's one way of doing it. So that's the aces. The 2s, we have the Sun, David Bowie, and the 2s of each suit, and of course Justice and Judgment all add up to the number 2, as does the High Priestesses. There's quite a few cards to look at in relation to each other in the number 2. And then number 3, we have our Empress, Hanged Man, the World, and then all the 3s, the suits, So that's interesting, isn't it? Look, this motif, just for an example, this motif seems to go all the way through these three in the minor suit. So this heart shape here, there, and sort of there in the Three of Wands. So yeah, and if we think of our Empress and what our Empress stands for, that heart shape makes sense. We've got this here in the world, the cosmic egg contained. I presume it's a cosmic egg, and it's actually being held there. Which again, that sort of reminds me of an Empress, and we have a baby as well. I know these are the 4 fixed signs around the outside that we see in the world card. But it just sort of reminded me of the Empress as well, with a little baby, because yes, she's our mother. There. Then we've got a faceless person as the Hermit there. So looking at things from a different point of view. Fours. So Fours. And the Emperor and Death are the 2 corresponding cards to the Fours. So how does the Emperor, Death and the 4 in the suits align? Well, I think the Death and the Emperor speak for themselves there. Look away if you don't like moths. I've done a full walk through this deck, so I'm not going to labour too much on this. So I'll quickly go through the rest. It's going to be a very long video by the time I've finished. But just showing the process that I'm going through. So we have, for 5, we have Temperance and we have the Hierophant. There's a message there in and of itself, is there not? And then how they align. I mean, that's just an incredible image. But how they align with the minor suits. And given the meaning, say like the meaning of the Phoenix here, regeneration. How would that apply to Temperance? And a Hierophant, regeneration. There's lots to think about when you start doing this, isn't there? 6, so we've got the suits, the Lovers, the Devil. The correlation between the Lovers and the Devil, we have the Lovers normally in the Devil card. I think that is so funny. A snake with Adam and Eve and the little hearts on the underwear. It tickles me, that does. But yeah, so how does that relate to the 6 of Wands? The motif that carries on through all these 6s is a globe with something trapped inside. And the Devil is all about our own entrapment, isn't it? So, you know, it's just a way of looking at these things, these correlations. So, you know, I think this deck has been really well thought out. 7s, Chariot, the Tower. So the Tower energy and the Chariot energy. So here, you know, we're trying to keep it all together, and here we've lost control. Or any sort of control we thought we had. These 7s seem to feature an animal quite prominently, which is interesting. We've got those flamingos again here, yeah, in these 2 cups. So we can think about these long-term viewpoints, which is interesting in the 7 of Cups, isn't it? Because 7 of Cups is usually about a choice, making a choice. We've got a mama here with the babies, and rising above and taking the longer-term viewpoint with the flamingos before choosing which cup. And then we've got abseiling, oh, you can see this, abseiling down. We've got these like little men figures abseiling down from here inside a whale's belly, and then these strings going down. Yeah, lots to think about, isn't there? I think this deck is just it's one heck of a deep dive. I've never known a deck, well, I have, I have known other decks that are deep, but this one is definitely among their top ranking ones. Okay, so for 8 we've got the Star and Strength, and I always think this is the most intriguing star I've ever seen. At the top we actually have some text saying nothing is as it seems, which you would think would be for the Moon card really. But yes, we're broken underneath, but we're still strong. Outward appearance is of someone completely different to what's actually inside. And I think that's quite a moon energy, but here we have it for the star. And this figure here is a star for actually, you know, when you call someone you're a star, you know, it means you've gone above and beyond, and this figure's gone above and beyond totally. And so if we align that with the Strength card, it just makes total sense, doesn't it? Yeah, total sense together. Yeah, and then we have the 8, so we've got a king here with the antlers. Clocks have also got a deeper meaning, haven't they? You know, the passage of time and not being able to control that. We've got these little figures as well again. It's quite interesting how these little figures appear on certain cards. Giraffes with fish in the bellies. Jellyfish feature a lot as well. So those are the 8s, and then with the 9s, my favourite image in the deck. I love this image. Well, I've got a thing about elephants, but yeah, but this is an elephant with moth's wings, so there's a completely different connotation there. Okay, and we've got strong, sort of, almost looks like a judge, doesn't it? In the 9 of Wands, you know, with a judge's wig. But we've got the Hermit here, and we've got the Moon. Stay human. Don't get lost. And the Hermit has definitely got lost in troubled waters. So do you see how those align? Troubled water, we've got water here, we've got water here. We don't know what's underneath here. What dangers lurk below the surface, and how these emotions can actually cause so much grief. We're trying to find the answer by looking on our devices. I need some help reaching out there. Completely different take, isn't it, on the Hermit card? I think this deck is amazing, absolutely amazing. So there's just a little peek into my process. Okay. Hi again. So, further developments with my deck study. I decided to do a pairing with another deck, an oracle deck that I actually reviewed on, well, I posted the video on the 17th, I think it was, of this month. And that was the Creative Consciousness Healing Oracle deck. I'll leave the link below. I was looking at challenges on Instagram, and I found one, Summer Self-Care Tarot Challenge by Earth Codes Oracle. And I thought I would do this because there are prompts for every other day. And as I'd only sort of took this out of the box around the 16th, 17th, something like that, then I could go back and by doing the prompts every day, catch up. So I thought that was a pretty good idea. One that appealed to me anyway. And I used my trusty planner, the one I always use for the Instagram challenges, which is, I've shown it before, This Will Be Your Year. I still haven't taken the price off it, but yeah, it was only £10 from the works. It's such a bargain. And so I wrote down the prompts here, which I will go through in a sec. And then I used, it's a bit cumbersome to actually show on camera, but I used the month at a glance here to actually record those cards that I have drawn, and then I can write them up in well, I don't really want to show you that. I'll blur this bit out, but yeah, then I write them here in, and some of them some of them are quite short, and some of them here are quite short, and some of them were a little bit longer. Anyway, that's really a testament to the deck, because true to the word, you know, true to the first spread that I did, the interview spread for this deck, then yeah, it's a very sharp shooter, absolutely. And so I thought I would use a sort of a more gentle oracle deck alongside it. Now aesthetically they probably don't look like they go together, but my did they work well together. So I'll just go through them side by side here. And I've put them in the order at first of the cards that I drew together, just to show you how they worked. So I had, what will I be working on in terms of self-care this month? And I got the Chariot and I got Nourish. And to me, that was sort of becoming my best self, integrating all parts of myself. And I actually needed to look at the needs of my body, because my body has been complaining of late, and I don't think you can concentrate really on what you're trying to do when your body's screaming at you in pain, can you? So I think the priority there was to nourish not only my spirituality and my studying and everything that I love doing, but also to nourish my health as well. So I've taken up a little bit more walking, I've taken a bit more attention to my diet, supplements, all that sort of thing. So yeah, those just, I won't go through everyone actually, because we'll be here forever, and this video is going to be pretty long really, isn't it, because it's a month study. But some of the ones that actually really did show a clear message. So the Lovers and Simplify, clearing away what you don't need. So yeah, choice, making choices that are helpful, I would say. Judgment and Deep Sleep. And you can see the figures are actually pointing to the heart here and the inner child. We have a goat's head here as well, and we have what could potentially be a volcano. So I think there's a little bit of a warning in this message here to actually make sure that we have good, deep, restful sleep in order to help our body. So you can sort of see maybe how these two decks are sort of aligning here. So we have the King of Pentacles with Allow and Accepting all parts of you. And so we've got the mind and the heart, the mind and the body here, and long-term viewpoints, which I pointed out when I went through the court cards. Then I had Knight of Wands and Moon Path, taking the right next step. I'll just go through these cards here. The Hangman and the Future Self. So in order to step forward into the future, maybe changing your viewpoint. These work so well together. They're amazing. Queen of Swords and Schedule. How could you not get such a direct message? This is the thing about this deck. It's just given me so many direct messages, and it's actually been supported by this Creative Consciousness Healing Oracle. Amazingly so. Who else would be wanting to do a schedule than the Queen of Swords? Page of Cut and Boundary Cloak. Well, if we've got our heart wide open here and we're leading from our heart, then maybe a soft boundary is advisable. You know, to still have that youthful enthusiasm and creativity in life, but to also have a little bit of protection there. The Queen of Wands with Moon Money. Well, she's a very outgoing person, and maybe money could be something that we need to address there. The Seven of Wands and the Pink Bees, integrating your healing. So this is a little bit a sort of a defensive card, but you know, there's a Seven of Wands. But the thing is, with this deck, there are slightly different meanings, so it becomes quite interesting there. There's which card is it that I was yeah, I think, yes, the Three of Wands. I'll come on to that and I'll actually share that one. But yeah, that was a real different sort of energy with that card, I think. Anyway, Ace of Wands and Truth Voice, communicating with your truth. And here we're leading again with the heart. So what it is we want to actually bring forth into life comes from the heart. Okay, so this Three of Wands. So this is about pursuing goals in uncharted territory. Of Wands is usually the guy holding the globe, isn't it? But here it talks about these snakes that are actually wounded, but they're gestating. They're actually going to lay these eggs, even though they're wounded. And I thought it was a really different take, actually. This wounded aspect to the fact that life has wounded us, I suppose. You know, life does, doesn't it? But these snakes are still strong. They're still undeterred. They're still going after what they believe in, or they're focused on. And this new life here wants to be born. It really does. Nothing's going to stop it from being born, even though it's being exposed here. And that's sort of another message there as well, isn't it? You know, exposing yourself to the world, you know, putting your head above the parapet. And so we have the pink lion here as a reminder to protect yourself when you do this sort of work. And we've got these little people here. Do you see them on either side? The little people. And those, to me, in this deck are showing those people that degrade you, that try to hold you down, that say you can't do this, you can't do that. And you can listen to them or you can ignore them. And I think these snakes are just doing what they want to do without listening to those little voices there. And those little voices could also be your own, couldn't they? But here they're ineffective. And they actually cannot deter the progress of these snakes. These snakes are going to regenerate, they're going to rejuvenate. And this new life will be born because it's heart-led. You know, change is always challenging. You can waste the opportunities by clinging to the known and these little voices. But when you feel fear and you need to tap into this energy here, then the pink lion, the visualization in the book there will help, I think, protect the little you. Ace of Pentacles and forgiveness. A new way of life in maybe materialism, in health, building a new life, I think, means we have to address other aspects of our lives, I think. This one, that was a hit home one, but this time I actually saw it as the sea of Binah, the sea of all possibilities. And the fact that everything, you know, there's a theory that everything, every living thing that ever was originated in the sea. And so if this is a sea of all possibilities, then here we are climbing again forward and progressing. And maybe these two pillars here, these moon pillars, lead us through the High Priestess and make us realise here we are just human, and to remain human. I don't know, you can go so many levels with that card. And here, nurture. So we have this new life here, our inner child that we're nurturing. Oh, I could go on and on, actually. It's just, yeah. The messages in the book are very, very small, but wow, they just open up. All this sort of thinking, all this thinking that comes from your subconscious, I think. Anyway, Empress and self-soothing, well, that goes really well, doesn't it? The nurturing aspect of the Empress. The Wheel of Fortune and self-trust. We can't control the Wheel of Fortune, can we? So the only thing we can trust is ourselves. So building that safety from within. So I think you can actually see how these two decks work together. If you're interested in the challenge, of course it's over now, then I'll just show you the prompts quickly. Okay, so these are the prompts for this Summer Self-Care Tarot Challenge at Earth Codes Oracle. So the first one, what will I be working on in terms of self-care this month? And then we have, how am I doing in terms of physical health right now? How am I doing in terms of mental health right now? And how am I doing in terms of emotional health? How am I doing spiritually? What can I do to care for my body today? What do I need for my mental health today? What is it that my emotions tell me that I need right now? What practice should I add to my daily routine? What beliefs should I let go of? What emotion am I ready to release? What does my soul want me to know right now? What step can I take today towards my life purpose? What have I learned this month? How can I use what I learned in the coming months? And what should I leave behind this month? So those are the prompts. I began this challenge late. I began it on the 17th. But because it's every other day, I was actually able to catch up by doing it every day instead of every other day. So that's how I did that. Full disclosure. And yeah, I thought these two decks together were perfect. And like I say, even though they don't really look like they would aesthetically go together, that strength and a rainbow boundary. So it's just the messages, they just align so well. Water with the Six of Swords, focus with the Knight of Cups. That's sort of warning really, isn't it, to the Knight of Cups, you know, focus. We've got David Bowie with Bountiful. He did give us a lot, didn't he, Bowie? Body connection with the Nine of Pentacles. Perfect. You couldn't make it up, could you? Absolutely perfect. So yeah, those were those two decks that I used together, Clarity and Magician. I could go on. Stop. So I think I will continue with these two together as a duo. I think they just work absolutely perfectly. Look at that clarity with the Ace of Swords. Amazing. Right. I'll see you in the next part of the video. It's actually a monthly long deck study on the Lorenzi Tarot. I thought I would do a tarot spread, and so I was looking through some of my books and things, and I came across one I've got here called Tarot for All Seasons by Christine Jetty. I am not sure if this is still in print. It's quite an old book. It's a Llewellyn book. It is first print in 2001. So yeah. And it uses the Robin Wood Tarot there, look. 1991. Anyway, getting lost. So, because the 1st of August is Lunar and all about the harvest, then I thought we'd look at that for the spread. And Christine talks a lot about season, which starts on August 1st, and all about it, scents, crystals. I've actually got some labradorite there for the season. The cards, tarot cards, are associated with the season here. So we've got Wheel of Fortune to symbolise cycle of life, death and rebirth, because it is the harvest season. The Queen of Pentacles and the Empress, so sharing, fruition, first harvest. Abundance with the Ten of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles and the Emperor to strengthen career and financial security. Sorry, I was reading that. I don't know if I actually showed that. The scents that you can use, some brews, some candles, and the home. But anyway, this is the spread. So as you can see, we've got like a harvest wreath here with the bread and the corn, and these are the positions. So position 1 is grounding, position 2 is attitudes about work and career, 3 is finances and our attitudes about money, and 4 is connections and sharing, 5 is health and healing, 6 is first harvest, and 7 is fruition. So let's just go through it and we'll see how the Lorenzi Tarot works with that spread. So I don't know if I can fit all this onto my screen. Oh, first problem. Okay, let's try. No, it won't zoom. It won't. No, it won't zoom out anymore. So you're gonna have to bear with me. I won't be able to put them in the positions there comfortably. So I will just show them as we go. Okay, so card 1, grounding indicates what you need to do to keep both feet on the ground. This card shows the practicalities of your day-to-day life. How do you function in the mundane world? Okay, so show me the grounding card. And we have the Page of Wands. So this shows where to concentrate your efforts so you can better function in the real world. This is a spiritual card, really, isn't it? Let's see what the guidebook says about the Page of Wands. So, a boy with wings and horse legs floats above a cloud. He is young and inexperienced, but eager to face the challenges of life with confidence and courage. If he sees an opportunity, he will find his own unique way to make the most of it. Together with him, 2 phoenixes symbolising new life dance in the sky. Here, the number 2 relates to the passage from boyhood to manhood. So it's about aspirations, new perspectives, communication, creative solutions, enthusiasm, resourcefulness, and incoming news. Our Page of Wands is how we function in the mundane world, with enthusiasm, looking at new perspectives, looking at new ways of being. So that's quite refreshing, actually, isn't it? Okay, so that's position 1. As I say, I'm not going to be able to put these on screen, so maybe I'll do it that way. I don't know. Okay. Position 2, career, attitudes about work. Now, are you following your heart's desire or just surviving? This card may give clues about your true calling as opposed to what you actually do to survive. So, let's have a look at card 2. Imagine the spread would be in the centre, but here we have the 3 of Cups. Fish dance exuberantly around 3 cups, celebrating a happy moment. One of these contains a large heart, a symbol of unity. So this is community, mutual support, friendship, achieving a goal together, happy ending, victory, achievement, great energy, celebration, team spirit and camaraderie. So our attitude to work is that we all work great together, isn't it? We all work happily together, so that's a nice card to get for that. Position 3, finances, attitudes about money. Money is energy. Is your energy blocked or does it flow freely? Do you deserve to have money? It can be a block, can't it? And we have judgments. Ooh. Okay. So I would say that's quite a challenging card, actually. So this is attitudes about money that may actually be holding you back from abundance and prosperity. So the advice is to concentrate on releasing the blocks that restrict the flow of money. So here we have an angel with a goat skeleton waking up 2 petrified men who rise from the earth together with their son, symbolising regenerated humanity. 2 little men cling to the angel's horn, saving themselves, while the third dances in the middle. They represent the cosmic totality, heaven, earth and humankind, and the meanings of birth, rebirth, vocation, breakthrough, calling, transcendence, triumph, transformation, family, union, reawakening of consciousness. So maybe it's time to consciously explore our relationship to money so that we can actually transform any negative beliefs we have about our worthiness to have money. Okay, so position 4, connections and sharing. This describes feelings of connectedness with others. How do you let your guard down to share with others, you know, the real you? And we have the Two of Swords. We have very busy minds going on there. Busy bees. You know, busy minds. So maybe we're too in our heads about our connections. Connecting with another being. I mean, this is two sides here, isn't it? Is it two beings or two sides of ourselves? So let's have a little look what the book says. Two of Swords. Two women tree twins whose trunk stands out above the clouds are cut in half by two swords. On their heads are two beehives in which bees are creating honey. The twins cannot take action until they pull themselves together and work in concert like bees. Preparation of a project, intellect awaiting action, process of a personal evolution, obstacles overcome only thanks to courage, affection and concord. So that is quite telling with connections. How do we let our guard down? It does say if it's a problematic card, it can illustrate either areas of isolation based on mistrust or areas of weak boundaries based on the need for approval. And you can actually do a 3-card spread for more information on this card if you feel called to. So, yeah. That's real pause for thought, isn't it? Why are we cutting ourselves off? Because that's actually what I'm seeing. We are actually cutting ourselves off from others there. And in doing so, cutting out a part of life that we really shouldn't. Position 5, health and healing. This card reveals how you take care of your body and nurture yourself. It may describe an area that is out of balance and needs your full attention. And we have the Knight of Swords. Now then, this is interesting because a court card indicates a healer of some kind or participation in healing activities, and with swords it's using books or seminars on self-improvement. Wow. If you feel you need some help with your health and with healing, then maybe research some books that could help, or if there are any seminars you can actually attend. That's so interesting that we had a court card there. A centaur with mechanical legs flies in the sky brandishing a sword. His faceless being is a symbol of his lack of fear, while his visible brain is a symbol of his youthful determination and fervent intelligence. 4 birds dance around him. Number 4 here is a representation of the practical sense, concreteness and constructiveness of ideas. And it's great intellectual and work activity, ability, audacity, strong will, defensiveness, hostility, anger, opposition and resistance. So, again, Knight of Swords here means don't be afraid to do something about any health issues. I mean, I think sometimes when we do have a health issue, we get a bit scared and we don't want to investigate it in case it's something we don't want to hear. But knowledge is power, as they say, you know, and I think our Knight of Swords wants to know. He wants to know what's actually really going on. Okay, position 6 is first harvest, which is a summing up. So you have planned the garden and planted the seeds of your life. What are you reaping for yourself based on your attitudes and behaviours? What are you harvesting? Ooh, okay. What are we harvesting? Let's have a little look. And we have the Two of Cups. Yes. Connection. Two twin mermaids defend each other from possible dangers, ready to sacrifice themselves in the name of true love and commitment. As soul partners, they will always have each other's back. And it's love, affinity, deep friendship, collaboration, a lasting relationship, partnership, reconciliation and attachment. So that's what we're harvesting. A real deep connection. And I think it's a real deep connection with this deck. For me, anyway. That's what I'm seeing. Then our final card, card 7, is fruition. So achievements, maturation, fulfillment, satisfaction and success. Things that are right with your world. This is the first harvest. So what are you thankful for? What are you thankful for? I am thankful for the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups can be quite a challenging card, I think. You know, this boredom that it normally, ennui, yeah, boredom, it normally is a key word for the Four of Cups. In this deck, it's quite... Well, I'll read it you because it's, yeah, I think it's quite a challenging card, actually. In this watery scene, the cyclical spectacle of life takes place as two larger fish try to eat the smaller fish. Told you it was challenging. On the seabed, 4 cups stand, 2 with hearts and 2 with brains. The fish seem indifferent to the cups as they focus on their own situation. So this is stability, stability without emotions. A need for motivation, wanting more, apathy, boredom, passivity, need to look at inner self, lost in thought and distraction. Oh, so a challenging card reveals an opportunity for growth that will make you strong. So no pain, no gain, as the old saying goes. So a 4 is a stable number, isn't it? It's all about stability. So we can be thankful for the stability. And if we're bored, it means maybe we've got time that we could focus on other things. We could focus on our health. We could focus on our learning. Instead of like focusing on fear, which is what I see in this card here with big fish trying to eat little fish, and you know. But then maybe we should be thankful for the impetus needed to get away from this big fish in order to save our lives if we are the little fish. So the impetus of the big fish is to satisfy a hunger. They need to be hungry to actually be wanting to eat these little fish. The little fish's motivation here is to get away and not be eaten. So maybe being thankful for life's challenges and not just getting caught up in dissatisfaction, but seeing life for the exciting challenge that it actually is, instead of like sitting under a tree and sulking about it all. So there's a little taste of how the deck performs in a reading. If this reading resonates with you, then you're welcome to take it. If your interpretation is different, that's brilliant as well, because we all have our own way of reading, don't we? But for this reading, I was actually relying more on the guidebook that comes with the deck, because it does have slightly different nuances within the interpretations. And as it's Lunar, there's also that little tarot spread you can use with a different deck. Now that you know the positions and the questions for those positions. This is a brilliant book. Unfortunately, I do think it's out of print. But anyway, I think that's my little wrap up actually of this month. And I hope you enjoyed my investigations, if you like, into this deck and the way I've been using it. Maybe I'll do a different deck next month. We shall see. Not quite made my mind up yet. But yeah, this is such a brilliant deck. I've really enjoyed working with it. It's been eye-opening, it's been informative, it's made me look at some of cards in a different way to the way I would normally look at these cards. I love the colour palette. I love the use of animals. And not in a way that, you know, you would normally think, oh yes, an L means wisdom. Well, we only have one L, and that is in the King of Swords, I think. It's in one of the kings, isn't it? It's the King of... I love that. That speaks so clearly the message here. And then the Hierophant, I mean, such a different way of actually depicting our Hierophant there. The Emperor with a pig's face, wow. And a peacock on the head. It says everything, doesn't it? You know, it's just different ways of looking at cards that we have come to know in our subconscious, if you're a tarot reader. This is, you know, it's all these little men as well, all the little nuances, you know, like I say, the use of not only animals, but the aquatic realm as well. A little nod here to surrealism. There's lots of little juicy nods to other things. I mean, yeah, the horns and the feet here speak to an archetype. We even have David Bowie. I like this deck so much. It's cohesive, even though some of, you know, you wouldn't think so. If you look at David Bowie and then you look at the Merman, you think, what? But yeah, it does read cohesively, I think. And then the use of the same symbols throughout the different cards, that is cool as well. The female presenting cards I really enjoy. This High Priestess here, look. So instead of actually seeing them in between two pillars, we actually see them in a different environment. More of a watery environment. And it does seem quite a watery deck, actually. If I was going to define this, I would say it's water and air. But more, yeah, you see air. Air. Everything seems to be high up in the air. And then the water. So yeah, it's definitely a water and air deck for me. This card's so eye-opening. Protective elements. I could go on and on. This is my favourite card is the Elephant card, I think, at the moment. Although this is brilliant. These snakes and the way they talk. I love that card. I've said it before. This one. 9 of Pentacles. I absolutely... It never came up actually in any of my readings or any of my daily draws or in the challenge. This card didn't come up, unfortunately, so that's a shame because I think it's beautiful. So much so, I'm going to actually have a little look what it does say in the card, in the guidebook about the 9 of Pentacles. An elephant, symbol of wisdom and good fortune, is surrounded by trees of pentacles and butterflies. Everything in this scene evokes prosperity and refinement, a general sense of peace and great satisfaction. Pentacles symbolise change in the outer world, just as the moths who float around the elephant embody transformation. And the meanings are safety, deserved success, abundance of money, gracious living, enjoying the fruits of success, achievement and completion. And that is the completion of my month-long study of the Lorenzi Tarot. I think that's a nice way to end it. And anyway, thank you so much for watching, friends. Until the next video.